Hey everybody, it's Seth Jones, Editor-in-Chief of Golfdom Magazine. Very proud to be out here at Pinehurst No. 2, covering the U.S. Open, sponsored by our friends out at BASF. I'm being joined by the man of the hour, former superintendent, now world-renowned architect, Mr. Bill Coore. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me this week.
Thank you, Seth. Happy to be here.
Well, now, I want to give the readers a little bit of background, actually. I interviewed you for our Golfdom cover story on Kevin Robinson and the crew out here, and you called me on Saturday afternoon, which I really appreciated. I want to let you know you caught me at a 6-year-old's birthday party at the bowling alley. So here's my interview right here on this chicken scratch. I want to apologize for all the bowling pins crashing in the background.
Hey, that's the way Ben operate too, Seth. It's just not a problem. We have little notes and scribbles and everything ourselves. Everybody thinks, oh, in today's world, you design golf courses with all high-tech equipment, and we're pretty much throwbacks.
Great.
So we understand that.
Excellent, excellent. Now, my question for you is, being a former superintendent, wow, you put Kevin and Bob and these guys through some work out here, didn't you? How can you do that to your fellow superintendent?
Seth, they were so fantastic, and the fact that, yes, once, many years ago, I was a superintendent. At the time, it was a job, quite literally, that I inherited. I had no formal training to be that, but it was one of the great things that ever happened to me, because being in that situation and getting the experience and the understanding of what those professionals go through, and on a day-to-day basis,
Sure.
much less a tournament basis, I think gave me an affinity and an appreciation for what they do. So it was fantastic for me. It became so much a foundation of my understanding too of how you go about laying out courses, designing and constructing courses that can also be maintained.
Great. And that was something about our interview. I wish I had more space. So, you had so many great things to say about the crew out here and about the profession. But of course, with the magazine, we're limited on space. So I do have a reader question submitted to us I want to ask you. From our friend Randy Samoff out at Champions Golf Club in Houston. Randy, thanks for the question. And the question is, how will the success of what you guys have done out here at Pinehurst affect your future construction renovation jobs?
Randy, I don't know, to be perfectly candid. This is I don't want to say this is an experiment, but this is more or less now in the greater public view perspective is at the forefront. This golf course and what's happening here. This going back through the process of the restoration, not trying to just recapture the character of the golf course and the strategy of the golf course, but from additional benefits of being the reduction of turf and therefore significant reductions of water consumption. And I've said numerous times, this is going back, and yet in many ways this could be a vision of what's to come, just because of the issues and particularly water issues that are going to face all of us in the golf industry in the coming years. So we will see. I've been asked more than a couple of times already by people here, like, boy, the course looks fantastic as this and this. Everybody's so raving about it so much. Don't you wish it would rain? And that first fellow asked me that, and I said, well, no. Why would we want it to rain? He said, so the brown grass turns green. I said, no. It's this presentation is at this moment. Now it could rain, but at this moment is exactly what we had hoped for, and it could have major impacts on the way people view the presentation and the maintenance of golf courses going forward.
Fantastic. I think a lot of superintendents would really enjoy that and hope that works out that way. So you're from this area. You've played this course. I can only imagine your history here. One thing that didn't make my story that I found really interesting was that you discovered a long lost relative out here when you were working the job. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, Seth, it was unbelievable. We had just started removing some of the turf off number 2, and one day Jim Pies, who for years literally has been the head of all the irrigation of the golf courses, all the courses here at Pinehurst. And Jim came up to me, and he and I talked a few times, as we began the project about different, obvious physical aspects of watering and that sort of thing. But Jim walked up to me one morning and goes, Bill, I think we're related. I go, really, Jim? And he goes, yeah. And background to that, Seth, is I was raised by my mother, and I never knew my father at all. The Coore side of the family I never knew.
Okay.
And so when Jim came up, he says, yes. He said, was your father's name John T. Coore? And I go, well, yes. I mean, obviously I knew my father's name even though I'd never met him or seen him. And I said, yes. He says, your dad was my grandfather's brother. He said, we're cousins. And so ever since then, we've been calling each other cuz. And so Cousin Jim, yeah, he's here. He's, it's one of the things, Seth, that we've talked a lot, certainly about Bob Farron and Kevin and John and the guys that are so critical to the success of this story. But Jim is equally so.
Yeah.
You just think about it, put it in the perspective of if you're in charge of irrigation and you see a presentation of a golf course, you know people are going to see what you're seeing out here now, which is brown. Browns and off greens and areas that some people would consider to be not good turf and not the way quote championship courses or American championship courses are supposed to look. It would be very easy if you're in the irrigation business to say, boy, that's making me look bad. I'm not sure I'm in. I'm not sure I'm going to buy into this concept. And Cousin Jim, right from the get-go, he said, you guys talk. Let's talk about what the concept is you're trying to do. And he said, I'll help you figure out how to make it work.
Great.
And he's been unbelievably supportive in this whole process, and so much of the credit that what you see out there in terms of where the watering patterns are and the areas that you're playing golf that are the most important are pristine and perfect, and the outlying areas are not. That's a credit to Jim Pies as well as to all the other guys.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you again. Congratulations on your work out here, and it's going to be a great 2 weeks. I can't believe it, 2 weeks out here, but we could talk to you all day, and I know you got other things you got to do, but I want to say thank you again for your time.
Thanks, Seth. But could I say a little more about Bob and Kevin?
Of course, please.
Yeah, and the guys that Kevin Robinson again. I mean, Bob. Of course, Bob being the director of agronomy, Bob's a little like Ben and me. You get a chance to see Bob and hear his, his thoughts and his feelings about all this. Kevin and John, the guys who are in the background there, you don't get to see so much. So I was so appreciative that you were focusing on those guys because they, again, if any one of the critical people involved in the maintenance of a course, if any one of them doesn't believe in the concept that's going forward, particularly when it's a radically altered concept like what happened here, anyone can undermine that whole process. It's a team effort from the very bottom right through the more recognizable names. So from the guys who are mowing the grass or help pick up the grass and plant the wiregrass and all that stuff, if they didn't believe in this, we wouldn't be standing here today. And it's a huge compliment that I hope people, and particularly your viewers and readers, will be aware of what these guys have done. And I don't know how to say it any more succinctly than that, but without them, we wouldn't be at this point today. So
Thank you.
And thank them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bill, thanks for your time. You guys know Bill Coore. I'm Seth Jones. Thanks for watching Golfton TV.